Howdy, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the 7-Day Boogie. It is I, your old pal, the Boogieman, JT, here for another week of 7-day action. Let's get right into it. Starting it off, recently I went to a buddy of mine, two friends of mine's show, and they rip. They're such rippers. It's so sick. But this... just beginning the show with some positivity, you know what I'm saying? Because I really enjoy watching people do their thing, whatever that thing is, especially friends of mine. Because, you know, people show me love. I've got wonderful, wonderful friends, and you gotta show up. I think that's important for people that you love and that, again, show you love. Being there is tight. Only made easier by having friends that rip. And I have friends that rip heavily. And such heavy rippage was attended by me recently, and it was a blast. You know, it's so fun to see people in like a different element when you mostly see them in like one situation, seeing them in a different, like I said, like a music element, or seeing them do something you don't get to see them do very often is really tight. And it gets me stoked to do more of what I like to do, right? Because it's all, if someone's out there getting it, living their dream or pushing for something that they want to do, it makes me want to get up and do what I'm doing, regardless, again, of what that is, right? Go to your friend's art show. Go to your friend's cafe and eat their sandwiches. Go just show up for the homies, I guess, is the lesson of the day. Show up for your friends because it feels good, it's fun, and they'll be stoked. And it will make you stoked. Again, let that feed you. Let that, again, even if you're doing different things, let that common, we're both getting after it, excite you both. So that is like the theme of the day, is just show up for the homies. That's really that. And speaking of showing up for the homies, that's going to transition us directly into our movie review of the week. You know the journey that we're on. The Tremors power ranking. Right? We've watched the first two Tremors. We've established our scoring criteria. But I have the unfortunate news to tell you that this week marks the first slog. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the first time that I was watching a movie in the Tremors franchise where I had to use willpower to push through and physically force myself to finish the movie. Because let me tell you, Tremors 3 is kind of stinky. We're going to get right into it. Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Quick addendum, in the first Tremors pod, I think I called the city that they're in Paradise. That's not true. That's a city in California. They are in Perfection, Nevada. Perfection Valley, I think it's called. But here we are, Tremors 3, quick synopsis. Back to Perfection. Movie opens, Bert is on a news station as the famous graboid hunter that he is, and he just lights up a crowd of shriekers. The running graboids are officially shriekers now. So he does his thing. It's just an action-packed opening. Entirely CGI, not boding well early on for the movie. But that takes us from like Bert still in it, still doing his graboid thing. He's like kind of on this world tour, taking out graboids as they're, kind of coming up out of the ground and popping up in rare places, I think mostly in like Northern and Central America. Bert returns to his homestead in Perfection, having fortified it in many ways. thick concrete surrounding it, so the graboids can't get him. He's ready for anything, so we think. Now, what else is going on in Perfection is that, remember the annoying teenager from the first movie? Well, he's now an annoying adult. And he is trying to buy all of the lots in Perfection to essentially create like a housing development. Classic. They're gonna tear down something and turn it into a housing development. Boo! We don't like that. So he is immediately the enemy. What else is happening is that the kind of city is just kind of living on the graboid fame. Miguel is back in this movie. Obviously, we've got some hit stars from the first movie, not Earl or Val or Reba, but we've got Bert coming back to Perfection. We've got Nancy and Mindy, who is still the same actress, which I think is pretty cool. Same thing with the annoying kid turned annoying development building adult. They are back in the movie, which is pretty cool. So that was pretty nice. Walter's Grocery is now owned by his daughter that was never mentioned or spoken about in the first movie. And there's a new guy. There's a new annoying sidekick, the worst and most annoying of them all. Jack. He runs like a fake graboid tour with his annoying like punk friend, who I don't know if he has a name, but it's probably something like Buffer or Scoops. And I really like his character because he is, immediately what his purpose is just to be a dickhead and then to die. And he does both of those things. He is a dickhead. He just like sprays this fire extinguisher when Jack is on his tours, but like he really likes to do it. It just has like these little portions of the tour where he goes and he's like, and fucking sprays the fire extinguisher, excuse my face. And then he just chugs beer and chills until he is eaten as part of the graboids' resurgence in the area. So the graboids are back for real. Jack is trying to steal some shine from the Val, Errol, and Bert fame. He's never encountered a graboid. He is a fake. He is a phony. He does not even really understand what they are or what they do. He's a big idiot for the whole movie. If you can't tell, I hate this guy. He is the worst part of, so far, spoiler alert, the worst Tremors movie so far. So, Bert is returned to Perfection. He's not selling his land, right? Problems start to come up because not only are the graboids back, there's a giant one that's been following Bert named El Blanco that won't attack him. More on him later. Kind of like a great white whale setup, big beast, different from the rest. I'm guessing he's albino, or I'm guessing they made him albino so that they could like justify him not evolving, because like I think they wanted to just keep a graboid around, understandably, because it's cool. And if they're like, oh, all of them evolve, then you're not going to have any more of the cool like namesake monsters of the Tremors franchise. So at least that portion I can give him a little bit of credit for, because keeping a graboid around is very cool. Unfortunately, Bert can't take part in any of his old shenanigans. The government steps in and says, these are a protected species. We need to study these things. And then those guys are immediately eaten. So then Bert can start exploding them again. So that doesn't really choke him up that much. Come to find out, the Shriekers are only the second of 3 evolutionary stages. They find like a Shrieker husk in the desert while they are out and about. And it turns out that now they have evolved into a worse monster, a jumping, flying, soaring thing that shakes its butt and can explode into the air, allowing it to fly for a storyline determined amount of time. Sometimes they just kind of float from one place to another and kind of glide. Other times they're just full on flying around, soaring with no care in the world. These monsters are lovingly donned the Ass Blaster. So you know what we're We went from graboid, cool, new word, to shrieker. We can understand what that does. Also, it speaks to like what they do, right? The running shriekers, that is like that name fits them perfectly. Ass blaster, it's just kind of a come on, man thing for me. That seems like the first name that they came up with at the Sci-Fi Channel studios. And I'm sure someone was like, we're not really going to call them ass blasters, are we? And then someone else on the writing team was like, yes. Actually, surprise. That's exactly what we're going to call them. So this movie has trouble. It becomes, rather than like in the first movie, the time was shortened, right? It's like one kind of specific incident with a few graboids. There's a few days pass, but that's because of the like isolation in the town and them having to kind of camp out on those rocks in that like kind of most like the climax of the story. The second movie takes place over a couple days. There's a little bit of travel. Also, I think that like the first mutation happens overnight, but then like once all the shriekers are there, they're always running from them. It's fast paced. They're always kind of in danger of them. They need to deal with this situation right now. There are multiple parts in this third movie where they get like respite from graboids, from shriekers, from the ass blasters. They get respite from the ass blasters. And what I mean by that is that they can like set a noise trap and then run away, and then like the scene will cut. Obviously, probably a commercial break moment, because again, this was a straight to TV movie, I believe. But that really bums me. I mean, we've over and over and over again. Don't nerf your monster. If you need time to like set things up, schedule a parade for the ass blasters to like focus on for an hour while they set up the fight or something like that. You know what I mean? Like send the ass blasters away somewhere that like classic, like the first crew always gets diced up. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that the plot fails in sometimes because they just kind of they survive by nature of having to be in the next scene, right? There's plot armor in a lot of these different scenes. Sometimes like the ass blasters are really easy to get away from. Other times if you're one-on-one with one, you're absolutely donezo. So that was an unfortunate part of this movie. And again, I won't go into too much detail about the story because that's really it. Once they realize that like the third flying graboid is there, it kind of just slows down to them looking out for them. There's like only 5 or 6 of the flying monsters in this movie. Unfortunately, Jody and annoying sidekick, worst guy of all time, they fall in love. There's like a very ham-fisted love storyline because Bert's heart belongs to another, obviously, right? So they can't have him falling in love. So what happens is the two new characters that we don't really care about fall in love. A lot of this movie takes place in a junkyard, which is convenient, but not used very well. They just like shoot flaming metal spikes at the flying graboids to explode them, and that's just kind of the rest of the movie. Is they do the fight again. It's just kind of sloppy, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. So we're gonna go into the scoring criteria. I'm telling you, I love these movies. The first 2 movies, both, I'm like bouncing in my seat, optimistically watching these movies. I got about 25 minutes into this one, and seeing the characters from the old movie was cool. Everything else about this movie sucked. It like wasn't funny or charming. I didn't really like any of the new characters. And they really could have, like the storyline of him going back to perfection and them having to like A, deal with the new monster, and B, protect the town from being taken from them. Like, that is a recipe for like a summertime good jam movie. But they really fumbled it with, again, like the writing of these new characters is really annoying. They make bad jokes a lot in this movie, and it really took me out of it. So a bit of a slump for the third movie. It is the worst in all categories. I didn't remember any music about this movie at all, from this movie at all, which is a bummer for me. Because I love the music in the first two movies. The characters, like I've already said, seeing the old characters come back is very nice. My boy Miguel meets a tragic end, R.I.P. Miguel, but seeing characters returning from the first movie was pretty cool. I will admit that. New characters, 0 out of 10. Jack, Jody, I wish you nothing but love and happiness in the storyline of love that you have cooked up, but please go away for the fourth movie, which I think will be easy because I'm going to give a little bit of a teaser into the fourth movie, which I'm really looking forward to. Practical effects. Bad news bears on this one. The practical effects in this one are almost non-existent because of the monster. The flying graboids are really difficult to make with practical effects, so most of the time, if it's like a puppet, it's just the head and neck of the flying graboid, ass blaster, I just hate saying that, flying graboid poking out of a window or into a doorway or something like that, or it's being like wrapped up so it can't really move in one scene. The rest of the scenes, it's like bad CGI. Again, I understand the limits budget-wise with a different style of production, but I think if they would have kept the story a little smaller and not had like this flying band of witch graboids kind of floating around the city as a menace towards the end of the movie, they could have just had like one or two of the flying ones dive bomb, have it take place over a couple hours, where they have to figure out this new menace. Maybe the movie would have been a little bit more fun. And also if they would have thrown Jack and Jody into a volcano to appease the graboid gods. Another problem that I had with this movie, again, I don't like the new monster design. They're like dumber and weaker than the Shriekers, in my opinion. I think the whole point of like this evolutionary chain with these ancient killing machines, these like apex predators that only emerge, I think they say like every 3,000 or 300 or 3,000 years. It doesn't matter. The flying ones are the worst ones, I think. There are like multiple scenes again where they're just like duped or like are choosing not to look at the people that they are looking for, which again is just like survival by the need of storyline. That plot armor is thick in some of these scenes. I don't like the new design. Give the Shriekers arms or something. Like what? Ooh. What would be my third? This is my mission by the end of because I know that the evolutionary chain of the graboid gets like pretty wicked towards the end of the series, I think, just based on the covers of the DVDs and what the monsters look like in different movies from the Tremors series. So we will see. But unfortunately, Tremors 3, I'm going to say official skip allowance from the Boogieman on this one. It was a bummer. It was not a fun watch. I did watch it in 2 sittings. It's not that long of a movie. It feels like it's about 9 hours long. So that's it. It's thrown away. Tremors 3, we're through it. And we're looking forward to Tremors 4. And again, what do you do in a series when you've morphed your monster so much from what it was originally? You go back in time. Tremors 4 takes place in the Wild West. I'm looking so forward to watching this fourth movie. It has to be better than the third one. Right? It has to be better than the third one. There's no more like unnecessary morphing of the monsters needed. We can just go graboids versus cowboys. End of pitch. And I'm here for it. So we're going to watch Tremors 4. I hope you do as well. And we'll see you next week to see where it ranks in the Tremors scoring criteria. moving right along, we're going to pass it over to the Frog Bard for the gamer segment.
You want a Dark Souls update? I'll give you a Dark Souls update. Fuck the Four Kings. All right? Pardon me. I'm only a few hours in, but I am really enjoying Resident Evil 9. I've been saying it to my buddies and everyone I talk to about these games. I think that the Resident Evil game engine has the best interiors in the business, the best ambiance. Like, so scary, so immersive. Throw on a pair of headphones and turn all the lights out. I dare ya. This game is unique because I really feel like it balances the third and first person perspective changes really well. I think that there are like even story elements that lean towards having one perspective versus the other. The Leon sections are third person and high action segments. He's been killing zombies since he could fucking hold a pistol. So it makes sense that his third person perspective sections are faster, higher paced, with a lot more action. Now, the Grace sections of the game are first person, slow, methodical, survival horror, high suspense puzzle type situations like Resident Evil 7 and 8. This is her first time experiencing any of this, so she is hyper focused on everything that's going on. These are the first time she's seeing any of these horrors that, again, Leon has been handling for years at this point. So again, it makes sense to me that her sections are slower, first person, and a lot more methodical and scary. They balance that over the top, corny, like Resident Evil kick punch action that we all love with top of the line, high stress, first person survival horror. Another thing that I'm really loving about this game is how the zombies are different in this one, right? The virus is pretty unique, it seems to me so far. A lot of the zombies in this retain some of their humanity in a couple different ways. Like, they carry on routines that they had in their normal lives before getting infected. And some of them even like apologize to you after you shoot them in the head 17 times to kill them. And that is just like really brutal storytelling. And I can't wait to see what the rest of this game has to offer.
Thank you, Frog Bard. Well, folks, that's really going to do it for this week's 7-Day Boogie episode. I will continue on my Tremors journey. Tremors 4 coming next week. And like I said at the top of the episode, that's the theme. If you take one thing away, it's just support the homies. You know? If they've got something going on, if they're working on a project, if they like even mention that they want to work on something, hit them up. Ask them how that's going. Ask them if you can do anything to help out. Right? Because the only thing that's more fun than like watching your homies do cool stuff is to collaborate and get involved in the cool stuff that your homies are doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's my advice. Just hit up a friend, try to get something together. Even if you guys just like sit, play a video game with the friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, just write a dumb song. But I hope you enjoyed this episode of the 7-Day Boogie. For real, it means a lot for you to stop by and listen to these rantings and ravings about the silly little things that I love, like scary movies and video games. So thank you seriously from the bottom of my heart for listening. If you're on Spotify, check out the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, check it out on Spotify. Send it to a friend. Spread the word of the 7-Day Boogie. We're trying to go global. So again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I love ya. Mwah.